All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. It is a blessing to be here, and it has been a while, let me tell you. Long time no hear from me, right? This is done on purpose with a purpose. And of course, welcome to Real Talk with E.V.E. This just happened spontaneous. It happened the way it was meant to. I didn't announce, hey, I did say last month, I think, or January. I lost track of time. I've been traveling back and forth. It's History Month, it's the Women's Month, and I'm still celebrating Women's Month. Okay. So I just felt moved that I needed to share something of me. When I get interviewed or people start asking me for my bio, whether it's from the States or from another country, particularly in Mexico, and I start talking and sharing about me, it's like, um, wow, I don't pay attention to the things that I've done in the last 30 plus years. I just go ahead and do it, you know. And it's at that time that I start talking and sharing things with them, with others, I'm starting to realize how much I've actually done. Keep in mind, I don't pay attention to things that I normally do. I am a servant leader. So I want to start out with some history of me. Who is Eve Gomez, also known as E.V.E.? First of all, I am a Mexican American. Like Cheech and Chong say, Mexican American. For those that know that, right? Um, I am a mother of two adults, a grandmother of two beautiful, beautiful little girls. I am a sister and a daughter to two belated parents. They've already have surpassed our life. They're not here anymore. They are healed. And what else? I'm an entrepreneur, serialpreneur. Oh, most of all, I'm just a servant leader. That pretty much describes me completely as a servant leader. But I wanted to say thank you for joining me here today. I know that this is improv. Um, I'm trying to see if I could actually see. If you guys are here and you are watching me, I am reading my comments here. So please, you're welcome to comment and ask questions. Your comments won't show up unless the stream is public on Facebook. I think it is public on Facebook. I normally do everything public unless I don't want several people not to know. Oh, yes, I am live. Hello there. Women's History Month. And so I felt moved, I felt spiritually moved to come and talk about me, share my story. And I hope that some of you can relate and resonate with me. And I pray that whoever gets to hear this, needed to hear this, and feel better about themselves, because sometimes we feel like we are on our own and that no one else has gone through what we go through. No one knows or understands us, things like that, right? So this is a kickoff to Real Talk with EVE in 2026, and it's Real Talk about EVE today. The title, though, of the show is Real Talk with EVE. I'll go back and change that, but I wanted to do that on purpose so you know it's about EVE. My real name, my birth name, is Eva. If I type it in Spanish, EVA, people call me Eva. That is not my name. Please do not call me Eva, and neither do you call me Eva, right? My real name, my now legal name, is Eve. That's not a secret. It's just I don't feel that I need to publicize that. Many people look for things to attack someone, to throw back at them, and this is not one of them, okay? I just felt, again, moved to talk about me, share my life, share some stories. I come from Mexico, a little town in Guanajuato near Celaya, and some of you may know that town when you hear it. Some of you may not, most of you may not. especially if you are not from Mexico or from the state that I'm in from. You're not going to know. But it's called Rincon de Tamayo. And guess what? I was born in a house, I believe by a midwife. My mom's not here to verify it, but I believe it was through midwife. I was born at home, and thankfully, that home is still standing. That home is still there. Um, I have family that have taken the house, and they have beautified it. I've not seen it, but they are living there as well, and so I'm thankful to that. Um, I'm always multitasking, people. Hopefully one day there comes a time where I just sit and do nothing and not multitask, right? I was sharing this video with others. Please share this video with others. This is an impromptu. This was not planned. This is just the way the Holy Spirit just said, hey, just do it. Because the time you keep saying coming soon, and I didn't put a date out there, here I am. Happy Women's Month, celebrating all of you powerful, dynamite women. Felicidades a todas mis mujeres que están escuchándome aquí. This is going to be all in English, and I'm going to come back and do one in Spanish. Esto lo voy a hacer todo en inglés y regresaré para hacer uno completamente en español. Este es sobre mi historia, para que sepan algo más de mí desde mi niñez. This is sharing my story. Me being on stage, me being invited at conferences, or being an MC at so many different events that I have MC'd in the past couple decades. I've been a grassroots leader for the last 30 plus years, but let me take you back to my story, to me, to you rather, from where I started, and I came to the United States. I was born in Mexico. I was there for only 7 years, my first 7 years of my life. We had an outhouse. I'm sure some people here in America also had an outhouse way back when, the 50s, 60s. I don't know when that took place here in America, but back in the 70s, we had an outhouse, el corral, some of us used to call it. And we didn't have a toilet. We didn't have a bathroom. We didn't have a shower. We didn't have hot water. Okay. And we were blessed to sometimes have meat. My dad came to the United States as a migrant in the 60s. I believe in the 60s. I know he was not in Mexico when I was born in 1968. I am 57 years young. I am blessed to be able to say this today. I will be 60 in the next 2+ years. I'm not in a hurry to become that age, but I will tell you this. I am as young as I feel. Age is only a number. Okay. And so thank you for the hearts that I'm watching here on live on Facebook. I am live on YouTube, and also my LinkedIners. I have been posting videos out there. I've been putting a lot of things geared towards the servant leadership that I've been doing for 30 plus years, the services that I've offered of my heart, right? So as a little young girl, I went to school, Parbolito. I think that's a preschool equivalency to preschool here. My mom was so proud that I was the flag girl, as they would do the marshal, whatever, the beginning of the parades, right? And so I held the flag. I think I may have been 5 years, 6 years young. I don't remember the age per se, but I remember it was in 1970s. I was second. I am second to the youngest. I am a twin sister to a twin brother named Adam. He's the love of my life because we were womb mates. Okay, we shared our mother's womb. He was my womb mate, and so if he's watching, God bless him. Love you. Love all my brothers and sister. One already passed, so there's only one sister left, my oldest sister. And so in growing up in Mexico, I was just learning the Spanish language in preschool. I don't think I even made it to first grade. I think I just made it to kindergarten. And I think Parbolito was, back in the days, it was called Parbolito. So help me out, people. Is that like kindergarten, or was that preschool? I don't remember. I just remember running away from the nurses when it was vaccine time. And I remember one time my mom said, hey, Eve, you need to let us know if they come in to get your vaccine. I didn't let her know. I ran home instead. I was running for my life. I didn't want a shot, That's what they used to do, the immunizations in the schools back then, right? So 1975, actually in 1974, my dad had already started a great job here in America, but he was already out here since the 60s. When I was born in 68, my dad was somewhere out here in the US. Whether he was at Bakersfield or he was somewhere in California, I don't know. Sometimes my mom didn't know where he was because he would move around from a baker, and then he was a bracero, which he worked in, in farms. Um, I just I feel mood. I need to share this. Okay, so bear with me, guys. There's a lot to share, but I'm gonna try to squeeze in as much as I can up until I got married, and then I'll bring it another time. We'll see how that works. Okay, I do have to respect your time and my time, and since this was improv, please share this video. I don't rarely ever do this unless I'm being interviewed and asked questions about my life. Then I realize how much I've done in this community and not thinking about it. Many people say, well, how did you do it, Eve? I just don't think about it. I just do it. By the time you're trying to figure out how I did it, I've been there and done that a couple of times already. So I'm like Nike, just do it, right? So yeah, my mom was so proud of me. I was the flag girl, and there's a picture somewhere in my family's house, cousins, I don't know whose house. Hey, Bree, I don't know whose house that picture may end up at. I don't know where it is, but I was the flag girl, la banderada, in the front of the parade, right? So my mom was so proud of me. I was that bright little girl that always wanted to learn, that always wanted to move, never sit still. And I still am that little girl, right? I still have that child in me, that little girl in me. And so, I'm not sure why the comments aren't showing up. Let me see. Am I on public? That's why I am on private. I'm on friends only. Forgive me, guys. I don't know if I can change that. So now I'm going to have to. Oh, here we go. Bear with me, guys. I don't know if I'm able to do that. Bummer. I don't think so. So I'll just have to take a look at on my phone to read your comments. So I do apologize for that. Out of practice. It's been a while, right? Out of practice. So anyway, as I was saying, my dad was able to get all of our a family passport, all of our social security numbers, all of our green cards. Actually, back in the day, it was, I think, a family one, the family passport. But anyway, I did not, fortunately, by the grace of God, did not have to cross the border illegally with no documents. I have friends and family that have. Kudos to them that they were able to succeed and still be alive. But it's not about that. I'm not talking about immigration, folks. Okay, I'm just saying that part of my story. 1975, we crossed the border. We came in a van, the whole entire family, except for one brother. He came in a year before, and so my dad bought a home, two-story home. That home is still there, still standing. Shout out to my oldest brother that's there. But anyway, uh, I'm 7 years young. July 25th, 1975, I hit the grounds of Gary, Indiana, when things were still thriving. Gary, Indiana, and I am 7 years young. I had no clue about anything about the currency, about the money, about the culture, about the curly afro hair. All of that was strange to me. And I'm sure I was strange to everybody in Gary, Indiana. Shout out to my GI people. So let me tell you, I don't look like what I've gone through. And I believe this is one of the greatest reasons, one of the most reasons why I am doing this. Okay. Because people may say, hey, Eve, you got it all together. No, but I'm not acting. This is real. I am that joyous person that decides to make the choice to be joyful, to be happy, to think myself happy. I retrained my brain several years ago. I've been in toxic relationships. Now I'm jumping to somewhere else. I've been in toxic relationships. So soul ties. You want to talk about soul ties? You want to talk about divorce? You want to talk about child molestation? You want to talk? I can go on and on and on. But why am I sharing part of my story now? Is because I am celebrating me, that God has given me the opportunity to go through all of these things, through these roller coaster rides, up and down, not having enough, not barely making it to pay bills, keep the NIPSCO on. For my NIPSCO people that are complaining about their bills, right? With all due respect, you have every right to, with what's happening right now. But sometimes it would be like, okay, what do I pay? Do I pay this? or do I pay that? Make sure that I have food at the table. My mother had to make sure that there was food at the table for 8 kids, when sometimes my dad she wouldn't know about his whereabouts. And because he would move from one state to the other, or ICE or immigration, caught him, and he came back, and his mind was, I'm taking care of my kids. So when we moved here to the United States, my mom was always a homemaker, but she was always an entrepreneur on her own, not knowing, without a business name, without an LLC, because she had to make sure that whatever she did, we had food, no matter what. And then coming here, my mom was a seamstress. She sewed our own clothes. I mean, I was fashionable because nobody else had what I had, until we started getting our Jordache, Gloria Vanderbilt. Y'all remember those jeans, those brands, right? I mean, I was in style, but that only happened like once a year. Keep in mind, there's 8 of us. My oldest sister was still at home. My oldest brother was still at home. My oldest sister's 14 years older than I. So there's 8 kids and young adults that my dad has to still take care of, right? So in growing up, I learned the language. I learned the English language just like that. I mean, I am a kindergartner. Started 7 years young, and I'm in kindergarten. You know how embarrassing that is to an American to not to know that, not that I didn't know then. I know now. I would be a little embarrassed, 7 years old, but I was just learning your language. Well, I shouldn't say your language, because America does not have an original legal language here. English is the language spoken in America. Doesn't mean that it is the legal language that we have to only speak in America. That's another chapter, another story, another day. And so I learned English rather quickly. I learned to read and write in English and in Spanish simultaneously, because keep in mind, I was just learning to read and write in Spanish. So here I am in America learning to read and write in English and in Spanish. And I'm thankful for my oldest sister that was teaching me the Spanish at home and teaching me how to dance by dancing on her feet. This is my story. And so, being on a platform and talking to our youth, I talk about bullying. Okay. I talk about not belonging. I talk about feeling like we're left out, trying to fit in. I don't like fitting in. I don't like clicking. I've always like stuck out like a sore thumb, because I was a talker then. I'm still a talker now, in a different way, obviously. I don't have the gift of gab. I have the gift to speak. I have the gift to speak in tongues. I have the gift to speak to your heart. I have the gift for this Holy Spirit to speak through me. Okay. And so I know this now, 15 years later, 15, 16 years later, something like that. But in learning English, I was able to transfer to first grade within my kindergarten, within my first year being here in America, because obviously I learned it rather quickly. So I went to school in Gary. I graduated from Andrean. This is how it all happened, how I ended up in Andrean, okay? No offense to anybody that graduated from a GI school, from a Gary, Indiana school, public school. I felt that my dad and my mom made the best decision. I know that they did when they sent me to Andrean. I carpooled with some family friends of ours from our hometown, and I'm thankful for that I was able to go. But that's because my dad was able to afford tuition. Back then, what I'm telling you that I paid tuition for was nothing, but back then it was a lot of money, right? My dad was able to pay for it up until sophomore year. Some of you in GI remember of this huge layoff that happened in the U.S. Steel. He retired from U.S. Steel. Well, he got laid off. That summer, we all worked in a farm in Crown Point. In the farm stand structure, I don't know if it's a garage now or if it's still a farm stand. I don't know, but I pass by it every time I go through Broadway into Crown Point. The land is no longer there. I've pointed out to my kids, hey, your mom used to work at this farm. Yes, I worked at a farm, and it was hot. It was a whole entire summer that I worked in that farm. All my brothers, except for my sisters and my oldest brother, worked in the farm. My mom and dad worked in that farm. And I say this with great pleasure, because yes, this little girl came from Mexico, worked in a farm so that she could pay her tuition. How about that? My mom used to sell fresh cheese, queso fresco, and my dad became his baker. He used to be a baker years ago. and became a baker during the time he was laid off. I think he may have been laid off 2 years at US Steel. Don't quote me, look it up. I'm sure it's history somewhere typed up. Um, and yes, I worked in a farm. I was a fast picker. Don't get me in the cornfields, I get lost. I'm in high school. I'm in middle. I'm a teenager, right? I wasn't about to go in the cornfield, so I picked vegetables in bushels rather. Yep. And then after that, I had to find me a job. My dad's like, I can't afford to pay your tuition, Eve. What are you gonna do? I'm thinking, well, I'm learning here. It's like a preparatory college school, and it's going to look good on my resume or application of college saying I went to Andrean. So guess what I did? I found me a part-time job to go after school, work, and sign my little check over to Andrean. I'm a 59er, and I'm glad and proud of it. So that's what I was doing, folks. I paid for my high school. I even paid for my college. I went to business college, Robert Morris, after that. It took me a whole year to go back to college. Had my dad allowed me to go straight into college, I may have gone away to college. And I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you like this right now. So everything happens for a reason, right? So, in paying my tuition allowed me to just focus on my work and my schoolwork. It was hard getting home 10, 11 o'clock at night to work, to study, to do my homework. But my senior year came time where now I'm like, Dad, you're back to work. Can you afford to pay my last semester so that I can graduate? I don't want to flunk any of my subjects. I was in the band in middle school, in the choir in elementary school. I joined band in high school. Senior year was no more band because I had to focus and make sure that I graduated, and I was working. And so thankfully, my dad did take care of the last semester so that I can finish off my high school year and graduate and not flunk anything. I'm telling you, it wasn't easy. Okay. All along, folks, I just want to tell you, I did this all on my own. I didn't really have somebody to sit next to me to help me do my homework. I'm learning English. I'm helping my siblings with some of it because math and science were my best two subjects. Not that they were, straight A's in math, right? But I sometimes needed to help my siblings with that. I was that, get up, let's go. It's time to go to school. Just like how you all see me like this, all like this. I believe I was like this when I was back in my young years, always motivating to get up and go. I used to show up at school with migraines. I suffered from migraines. So if y'all are suffering from migraines, I can relate to you. They are no fun. They used to give me the dry heave. I couldn't stand the light or smell or nothing. I would show up to school just like that. And some would say, why come to school? Because I'm not learning anything at home. And my dad brought me to school. And so now he can't pick me up, or we carpooled. Let me just go to the nurse's station for an hour, give me an ice pack and numb the pain. That's what I used to do, folks. Yep. And then, of course, in my teenage years, I was a mischievous girl. I don't think it's time to share that part just yet. I think that's for stage to share that. I'm not going to share some things here on purpose because that's to share on stage at several conferences that where the Lord will lead me to share with women. I am pro-life, and I can relate to a lot of girls that have gone through things. I'm going to leave it there at that. But I always had to work. So I've been working since I was 15 years young and still work. And I take pride in it. And one thing that I will say that my parents taught me to be who I am today. Thank you also through God that has made me who I am. And that's a loving, giving woman that only knows love and chooses not to know hate. So I ended up working through the year after I graduated in 87. Didn't get to school until late 88, early 89 to go to college. I missed that whole year. And of course, I don't regret anything because I worked on learning to live with no regrets. No, I wish I could have, would have, should have. I think twice before I say I should have, or I could have, or I would have. Because I live in the now, I live in the moment. Whatever the Lord gives me to do today is what I do. Tomorrow's not promised. So fast forward, I got married in 1993, had 2 children. My firstborn was born in 94, and was off for 6 months. Then went back to work, Had my second child almost 5 years later, got off for 6 months, went back to work. I think it was 6 months, maybe less. But I'm thankful and grateful for my mom to be the babysitter at the time that they were babies. Um, and I worked, go back and forth, and I became a single mom. I got divorced 10 years later after marrying my children's father. I'm not going to share much more of that because the time will come for everything else. I'm saying this, somebody needs to hear something here, you know. They're like, "Eve, you're always so positive. Eve, you're always excited." And I said, if you know what I know, you'd be excited too. So why don't you start getting excited now? Because great things are happening. And this is me, for those of you that see me personally, full of life, because I learned to live and not just exist. So, you know, I've been in the nonprofit sector since I was 19, 18. LAFEP, Latin American Family Education Program, was an organization that was helping the Hispanic population in Gary and Lake Station, you know, those areas. But the office was across the street from Emerson off of 6th Avenue. And was that Carolina? I think it was LAFEP, Latin American Family Education Program. I can't believe I remember that, and I'm talking about me being a kid, because they had English as a second language, and my oldest two siblings went to that program and got their GED. Or my brother did. I don't remember if my sisters did or not, but anyway, I became part of that program in being the tutor to the children of the parents that would come in to learn English as a second language. So I was their tutor. Um, I think I'm still in high school. I'm 18. I'm still in high school. And that's a nonprofit organization. And then I started supporting the nonprofit organizations, and I continued on, not during my college years because I was, again, working. I held a full time schedule at Robert Morris College along with three jobs. This is to pay some of my books, to pay the things that the tuition, the loans or scholarships that I got paid. Keep in mind, I live in Indiana. I live in and worked in Illinois. Went to college in Illinois, and I wasn't available. Or sorry, I was not qualified for some grants because it's a different state. Nonetheless, uh, I suffered anxiety. I was doing a little too much. You think I had three jobs. I held. Let's see. I was a travel agent. This is while I am going to college. Travel agent. I worked at the dollar store, used to be called the Dollar Bills back in the day in Griffith, where the cinema used to be. The dollar store is still there. There used to be a cinema, and the travel agency was used to be there too in that little plaza. And service merchandise, that little plaza. Y'all remember that? For those of you that are Hoosiers, that little strip, I held two jobs. Plus, I worked for an orthopedic at the water tower. So I worked 7 days and go to school. And I was in a relationship with some guy, right? How about that? Yeah, there's an anxiety, had to slow me down real quick. The doctor at Northwestern said, "Eve, I mean, I was suffering. I was hyperventilating. I couldn't breathe. I thought I was dying." So I can relate to those of you that suffer from anxiety. Okay. I suffered from anxiety for quite some time. I was a mom, still dealing with anxiety. My babies were little, going through stressful moments, arguments, and things like that would bring it up, right? Where I would have to call, or my ex-husband had to call the 911 or whatever, had to take me. I couldn't breathe. I needed oxygen. These were my feelings. And they were real. That's what I was feeling. My fingers were cramped. My legs would feel like a ton of weight on me. I would started to stutter. These were my symptoms of my anxiety attack. So I can relate to those things. I don't look like what I've been through, let me tell you. So if God can do it for me, he can do it for you. And all along, he never left me. He will never leave you nor forsake you, because he never left me. He held me by his hand, not knowing that he had me, not knowing that he had me. So I am so grateful that he allowed me to go through all of those things, through all of those storms, and I still am here to talk to you about it. Let me tell you, I am thankful. Thank you for watching me, guys. I'll go back and read your comments because I'll have to keep putting my glasses on so I can read, okay? And so in dealing with that, for those of you who suffer from anxiety, I didn't like taking medication. I still don't, okay? I was given Xanax. Y'all know what Xanax is all about. You get addicted to this doggone drug, and then all it does is get you all like drowsy, right? It calms you, but I didn't like taking it, but I had to forcefully a few times here and there. The doctor would say, grab a paper brown bag, you know, the sandwich bag where you pack your lunch in, and put your head down between your knees and breathe into that bag slowly, right? And so I started teaching to count backwards, 10 to 1 backwards. Get your mind off of that and start breathing. And so when we're living a fast-paced life, we got to learn to breathe. When we're going through a storm, we got to learn to breathe. Okay? Breathe. Look, I've gone through bankruptcies, I've gone through foreclosures. I've gone through what you call that? When they take your car, repossessions. Yeah, my credit's gone up and down. I've gone through all of that. But here I am, as Maya Angelou said, here I rise. And I'm able to smile and tell you about these things. When you have been completely healed of everything, you're able to tell the story. But within telling your story, you are healing. All right? It doesn't cause me pain, but I know that there was pain with that purpose. And the purpose is why I'm sharing this story, so that somebody else can see that they are not alone. And you that are watching, you are not alone. You've never been alone. God has been holding your hand all along. We just don't know it, because we're all wrapped up in the victim mentality. And I have had a victorious mentality for quite some time. I will not play the boo-hoo, the woe is me, the look at me. You just don't know what I'm going through. You won't understand me. Try me. I will understand you. I know what that's like. And when you let go and you let God and take over the wheel, as they say, we are reckless drivers. Your life will change. Your language changes. Stop talking the way you're talking. I could have easily bashed my ex-husband, ex-boyfriends, and I just did not do that. During that time, did I cry? Heck yeah. The Lord knows how many times I cried at night quietly. My pillow, always full of tears. But I'm like, why am I doing all this crying? What am I fixing? Nothing. Why am I worried? What am I fixing? Nothing. Other than me getting my stomach to hurt, my head to hurt, cloudy in my mind, couldn't think straight, that kind of stuff. But here I am. I kept getting up. I gave myself no time. Look, my kids were little, my babies. I love you both. Know that. I was volunteering in nonprofits way back. I was a LULAC and Cicero, helping undocumented, helping my people, my Latinos. I learned to be an interpreter since I was a child, because as parents don't know the language, guess who they use to interpret, to fill out forms? Your children. I was that child. And I kid you not, I am not here to lie to you. I help my older siblings as well to fill out forms, talk to the doctors for them, interpret with my parents. Until it came a time where it was like, okay, I am not like working for somebody. I'm going to work for myself, do freelance. I got to do something because my time is valuable. My parents need me. They're getting sicker. My children need me. I'm raising them at the same time, taking care of my parents. Who has time to just feel blah? I don't feel like getting up today. I feel like feeling like blah. I don't feel like taking a shower. And I'm not mocking you guys. I'm not making fun of nobody. Depression is real. Anxiety is real. Migraines are real. I get that. But it's how we react to that that's happening to us is what makes a difference. Okay? I know I'm getting some amens, some hearts. Thank you. But it's not about me. It's what's in me. And God allowed all this stuff to go for me to go through so that I can sit here and tell you my story. So let's play the victor role. Fix that crown. It's Women's Month. To me, it's Women's Month every month, okay? Mother's Day every day. We can celebrate ourselves. And I'm tooting myself. I'm tooting my horn. I'm celebrating me, but I am celebrating you most of all. I love celebrating my sisters. I don't care who you come from, what walks of life you have. I love celebrating every little milestone, every little step that you've made ahead is a step forward. That when you fall forward, don't fall backwards. And if you have to look at the back, your past, just say, thank goodness I'm not there anymore. All right? So yeah, I've gone through some toxic relationships, but they only made me stronger. Where they say what won't kill you will make you stronger. And God won't give you more than what you can handle. We feel like, oh, this is too much because we focus on that too much. We focus on that problem. We focus on, how am I going to? You know what? When my light bill or my gas bill wasn't paid, my children can testify to that. I said to people, make sure you have those tea lights. Go to the dollar store. Thank goodness they still have these stores out there, okay? And I see these stores in places in California that I thought I wouldn't see, okay? I see them in St. John, okay? And Aldi's as well. We lived off of we ate off of Aldi's. And back then it was all canned goods. They didn't have all the stuff that they have now, okay? They for sure weren't thinking about wine, and the items that they sell, household items that they sell, used to be all canned goods. That's it. All right. Lived off government cheese. I think it was for a year or two when my dad was laid off. We've gone through some stuff. We've gone through the struggle and felt poverty, not knowing we were in poverty, not knowing that we were going through struggle, because my mom always made sure that it didn't feel like we missed anything. I couldn't get those Nikes. I couldn't get those brand names. Sometimes my dad would bless me once in a blue moon and come in with a Jordache, Sergio Valente. But that was about it. Did they make fun of me at school? They sure did. I was being bullied back in the day too. I was bullied in elementary and middle school. High school, I kind of stood up with some people. I had a Chinese star that my brother made at workshop, in a machine workshop, and it was very sharp. A Chinese, y'all remember those Chinese stars that you can use as weapons? Yeah, I wasn't vicious. I was defending myself from two guys, and I threw it at them. Did anything happen to them? No. But guess what? They started talking to me after that. I'm going to tell you about my bullying history another day, okay? I became friends with these bullies, and now I help parents with children that have been bullied. I meet them in school. I used to do all that. I talked to many families. I've mentored many families, women, children, holding them by the hand, talk about IEPs, talking about 504s. I learned that with my own. Let me tell you, I've walked through quite a bit of situations, so that you cannot come tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I didn't read it in a book. It's my own book, because it's part of my story. So you're looking at an empowering woman, because when you are healed, you help heal. They say hurt hurts people. Well, I've been hurt, and I didn't like hurting people. I may have hurt people not knowing, not intentionally, but who I was really mostly hurting was myself. And this goes out to you. When you're doing stuff that just makes you feel better, and you're insulting others, you're throwing them under the bus, you're doing all of that to make yourself feel better, you're actually hurting yourself instead of hurting them. Hurt people, heal people, empower people. I do all of that. I'm healed. I'm thankful. I had to work hard at changing the mindset of not so much the self-esteem, but the insecurities. I dealt with very insecure people, which that insecurity was coming into me. And then I started feeling insecure. Then I started second guessing myself. Then my mind started lying to me. Let me tell you, the enemy will steal, kill, and destroy right here. Have you thinking that you're no good. My dad used to say, oh, you ain't about to be no good. You're not going to have all these things. But you know what all along I was doing? Serving with all these nonprofit sectors that most of my family members had no clue what I do. Still may not know all that I've done or do in the community. It's not for me to publicize, look at what I'm doing for this person, that person. I would spend too much time on social media if I had to do that. It says to not tell the left hand what the right hand is doing. I'm not going to tell that left hand what this hand is doing until the time comes, until God says to reveal, right? So I thank you for joining me here today. I've gone through all of that. And here I'm still, now I'm sitting, standing tall with my crown fixed. Do I fall short? Yeah. But I get right back up. Self-motivate. I motivated myself since I was a kid and still to today. But what I have noticed about me is I love to motivate others, because I know what it's like not to have somebody motivating you. You have to do it on your own. So do self-care, self-love, Self-motivate. Take care of you. And don't feel selfish when you didn't feel like taking care of somebody else. Because you have to be okay. For you, for your children, for your family. But mainly for you. Show up for you. Celebrate you. No matter how small that milestone is, celebrate it. And I'm going to tell you, like I tell a lot of youth, when they hand you or throw you bricks, use them to build it, that stairs to climb to the top. And I think on that note, that's where I'm going to end it right now. Stay tuned for more. Real Talk with E.V.E is back. I have to pray on what date the Lord wants me to bring it on. I believe Saturdays would be a good day, or Monday nights. So I'm going to take a poll. You guys let me know, okay? And it will be Real Talk with E.V.E. I have already lined up some guests to come on, but I was going to kick it off with some powerful women that I know, I love, and I celebrate with and for. But the Lord just had a different plan. He said, start it out with you in 2026. So yeah, I hope you guys learned a few things here on this one. I hope you felt empowered and not alone. You're not the only one go through things. Don't do the woe is me. Stand up and just be glad and be thankful. Be thankful in everything, not because it happened, but because you're still alive, that you can still say, I am here. Okay. And I'm going to continue to enjoy this weather as much as I can. Enjoy the mountains. And I know to my Hoosiers, it was cold out there, folks. I had to put that coat on and I had to put that scarf on. And here, look at what I'm wearing. I mean, this is crazy, right? But I will be back in Hoosierland sometime soon. And I look forward to meeting people. There's a lot of work that has to be done because for whom much is given, much is required. And on that note, I have to say, enjoy this beautiful weekend. It's a beautiful day. Y'all remember this little boy? Says, Lord, I thank you for sunshine. Thank you for rain. Thank you for joy. Thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day. I don't claim to be a singer, okay, folks? It is a beautiful day because you make it so. Handle your business, all right? Handle it with a smile and have a grateful heart. Thank you for joining me here once again with Real Talk with E.V.E. I am just so happy that I'm finally back. I'll see you till next time. Nos vemos.